Kaiana was born with the blood of chiefs, but blood doesn't buy you loyalty when your people whisper that you've lost your way. On Kauai, he walks among his own, but never with them. The villagers work the shoreline, share their laughter, and cast sidelong glances his way, never daring to look too long. He wears red and yellow, the colors of Ali'i, but to them he's just a restless shadow of what he should be. His brothers remind him of that fact, their doubt sharper than any knife. His wife alone stands beside him, her eyes steady where theirs are cutting. She still believes in him, though belief can be a lonely thing in a house that treats you as an exile. Kaiana spends too much time staring at the sea. His people think it's madness. The ocean takes lives, it doesn't give them. But Kaiana sees something else, a horizon that doesn't end where tradition says it must. The waves call to him with a promise of more power, more danger, more destiny. For a man already cast out by his kin, the ocean looks less like a threat and more like a door. And if home won't take him, perhaps the gods are whispering that another kingdom just might. On Maui, Kahekili waits. The old warlord doesn't fight with just spears or clubs. He fights with prophecy. He calls himself the Star, and he looks Kaiana dead in the eye as if to say, "If you want a place in the heavens, it will be under me." He tells Kaiana that only one bloodline will stand when the smoke clears. And just to twist the knife, he lays out bones. The bones of Kaiana's father, stripped of dignity, used as bait. It's a cruel gift. To most, bones are remains. To Kahekili, they're a promise. This could be your fate or your inheritance. Kaiana tries not to show it, but his jaw tightens. His father's memory is now a pawn in a game played by a man who never stops winning. Kaiana has already moved one step closer to believing. Because exile leaves a man hungry, and prophecy tastes an awful lot like redemption. On Oahu, Kaiana earns his scars. The battlefield drowns in smoke and thunder, spears clash, drums pound, and temples fall in flames. Kaiana fights like a man trying to kill the doubt gnawing at him more than the enemy in front of him. He's fierce, fearless, but never careless. Every swing of his club is precise, every charge deliberate. He fights bloodied but unbroken, standing amid the carnage like a shark that smells only survival. But even in victory he grimaces. He stares at desecrated temples, burned by hands that called themselves his allies. This wasn't prophecy fulfilled. It was desecration in the name of conquest. Kaiana doesn't pray for forgiveness. He doesn't ask the gods to wipe his hands clean. Instead, he mutters the truth to himself. The sharpest edge cuts both ways. Loyalty, prophecy, war. They're just blades waiting to turn. And Kaiana, more than most, knows the cut is coming. Kaiana doesn't step onto the pale-skinned ship like a chief boarding destiny. He falls, literally, jumps from a cliff, dragged half dead onto the deck. He sweats in a fever, haunted by visions he can't tell are blessing or curse. One moment he's clinging to rock and air, the next he's staring up at strange faces. The voyage takes him to foreign markets overflowing with fire and iron. He studies everything, how the muskets are loaded, how the cannons roar. Kaiana survives, and with musket in hand, it's with the conviction that thunder can be wielded, and that he might be the one to do it. When Kaiana returns, he doesn't sneak ashore. He brings thunder in his hands, muskets and cannons as gifts for the future. The chiefs glare, suspicious and proud, but Kaiana doesn't flinch. He stands taller than their doubts. A man who knows he's brought back something more valuable than any prophecy. Power. Kamehameha greets him not in battle armor but in the taro field, hands dirty, words soft. He speaks of farming, of ohana, of peace that grows like shoots from the land. Kaiana laughs in his face. Farmers don't win wars. But there's something unsettling in Kamehameha's conviction. The man talks of planting, but he carries himself like a warrior waiting for the right moment to strike. Kaiana doesn't trust it. Not yet. But trust isn't the same as recognition, and Kaiana recognizes strength when he sees it. For now, he offers his thunder to Kamehameha. Together, they could move mountains, or bury each other beneath them. Ka'ahumanu studies Kaiana as though she can already see the cracks in his armor. Her gaze is steady, her voice sharper than any spear. She tells him the gods are silent, and silence is never safe. She tells him women will weep, and that he'd do well to listen before the crying begins. Kaiana smiles, amused. He files her words away under later. He thinks she's just another voice trying to tame him. But we, the audience, can feel what Kaiana refuses to admit. This isn't advice, it's prophecy. Kaiana believes he commands thunder, but thunder doesn't obey. It strikes where it pleases, and when it does, the ones left behind are always the ones who warned us first. Then come the foreigners, dressed in smiles but dripping with greed. They talk trade, but Kaiana hears conquest. He knows their kind too well. He remembers chains, cruelty, fire. To him, they're not guests. They're a sickness waiting to spread. At night, he slips into their ship with a musket in his hand. He means to finish them before they can poison the islands. Kamehameha stops him, not with weapons, but with words. The law of the splintered paddle. Mercy, even for enemies. Kaiana has rage etched in every line of his face. Kamehameha doesn't bend. For him, law builds kingdoms. For Kaiana, law is just a leash. He's tasted thunder. He knows it won't bow to parchment or prayer. Thunder owes no man a favor. And when it finally crashes down, he intends to be holding it. And then the thunder comes. Not prophecy, not gods, just iron and nails. The day of spilled brains. We see villagers laughing one moment, screaming the next. The ship fires canisters stuffed with nails, tearing flesh, ripping through bone. Screams echo against the cliffs. Drums vanish under the roar of cannon fire. Children wail, mothers collapse, warriors fall before they even draw their spears. And over it all, Tala sings. Her voice is a lament, trembling, beautiful, horrifying. A song against thunder. Kaiana watches, powerless. He had warned them. He had begged them to see what thunder really meant. And yet here he is, standing, looking at the aftermath that tore his people apart. Right doesn't heal the dead. And the man who once thought he could command thunder learns the final truth. Thunder doesn't serve, it consumes. The tally always catches up. Kaiana's story doesn't end with statues or chants. It ends in whispers. He is remembered not as a saint, not as a traitor, but as something harder, necessary. The man who brought thunder into the islands, who dreamed bigger than tradition allowed, who loved fiercely and lost absolutely. His shadow stretches long because thunder echoes long after the storm. And in the valleys of Hawaii, if you listen closely, you can still hear the wind whisper his name. Kaiana, the kingmaker who wouldn't stand in the shade.